friends, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you happen to be new here, my name is Jess. Today I wanted to do something that I've been seeing for a really long time. As somebody who watches booktube and as somebody who watches all different types of YouTube, I've actually really enjoyed the assumptions about me tag. It's not really a tag. Mostly people just submit assumptions and then you respond to them. And as somebody who is pretty transparent online, or has always been pretty transparent online, I thought it'd be really fun to see what you guys thought of me, your assumptions about me. So I did ask on Twitter people's assumptions. I did also link my Curious Cat for those people who are afraid to submit ones that you would be tied to, because I feel like a lot of the time assumptions aren't necessarily always positive things. So I did want to also have that as an option, and that's where I'm going to be starting. I'm going to be starting with my Curious Cat. If you guys have any other assumptions, leave them down below and I'll let you know if they are true or not, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right, so the first one that I have here is that I'm a vegetarian. I am actually not a vegetarian. I used to be. I was actually a vegan for a very, very long time. When my ex-husband and I lived in California, I was running at least 11 miles every single day, or at least Monday through Friday. I was vegan. I was at the healthiest I have ever been. And then I stopped and I came back to Ohio for a little while and I started eating tuna again, and tuna is one of my favorites, and that kind of started the downward spiral of me eating meat. Now, I do not drink normal milk. Like, I don't have milk in my fridge. I tend to just buy like almond. I stay away from soy. I prefer cashew though. Cashew is my favorite. And I do try to limit my meat consumption and I do try to limit my dairy consumption, but that is more now an environmental thing. Like, I use reusable straws. I, try to reuse plastic containers that I have. I've just been trying in the last month or two to hone down on how much I am contributing to the environment. And it really scares me because I don't know, we only have one planet, and I try to focus on what I eat, what I consume, what I use to make sure that I am not contributing to the destruction of our world. Someone said you get upset very easily, and I have to say that that is true. And I'm gonna blame it on being an Aquarius. I'm gonna blame it on being a very emotional person. Now, upset to me doesn't necessarily mean one thing. It doesn't mean angry, it doesn't mean sad, it doesn't mean, it can just be a plethora of things. And as somebody who tends to be a very emotional being, as somebody who tends to wear their emotions on their sleeve, I have to say this is 100% true. I do get upset pretty easily, but by the same token, I'm definitely the type of person who, when they get upset, can talk it out or can take time to themselves and really assess whether or not my initial reaction is one that I want to continue with, if it is the correct reaction. Because I also suffer from borderline personality disorder, and one of the big things for that, the way it manifests in my life, is an automatic gut reaction to things. And then over the years, since I am almost 30, I've kind of learned to accept my initial reaction and then think about it and make sure that it is actually how I feel before I try to react. Like, I don't know, for me, it's like I am gonna automatically feel these things, and the feeling that I had is valid, but it's not necessarily the feeling that I want to continue having. So I am definitely somebody who does get upset pretty easily, and I blame that on my sign. Next one is you get a lot of attention from strangers. This, I don't know if they mean online. Online, I feel like I do, because obviously I am in the public eye, but when it comes to just my daily life, I wouldn't say that I do. I used to, because I have, like a lot of tattoos, I have a lot of piercings. I don't actually wear them, but I have like my septum, my nose done twice, my lip done 3 times. I have gauges, I have bright red hair, I have a lot of tattoos, like my chest, my hands, things like that. And I feel like I used to get a lot of attention, but I feel like tattoos have become even more popular, and I live in a very tattoo friendly city. A lot of people have tattoos, a lot of people look like me. So I feel like I don't get as much attention as I used to the older that I get, and that is totally fine with me. So I think I used to, and I think online I do, but overall in my life, I don't feel like I get a whole lot, other than from extremely creepy men at work, which is not my favorite. The next one is you're not out to your family, and that would 100% be incorrect. Every single person in my family knows that I am gay. My adoptive mom, she is the one who just made it seem so normal. She made it seem so okay to me. It was just, that's how I am. And it was never even really like talked about. It was when I was like, hey, I'm also into girls. She's like, okay, well now when you have girlfriends over, you have to keep your door open to your bedroom. That was like the only thing, because, safe sex, whether you're, gay or straight. And the rest of my family, I think I came out to them when I was like 12. I'd fallen madly in love with Avril Lavigne, and my cousin completely outed me to everybody. And looking back on it, I was really upset when it happened, because I'm from a traditionally very, very Catholic and very, very Lutheran family. But I'm out to pretty much everybody. If they ask me, they know. I've had plenty of girlfriends in the years, so it's not really something that I've ever tried to hide from them. All right, now I'm gonna go to Twitter and see what the assumptions were there. I am pretty nervous about this, I'm not gonna lie. So the first one is, you love whiskey. I actually do not. I am more of a beer or wine drinker, but I actually stopped drinking alcohol completely about 2 years ago. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, I've had maybe like 5 beers. I just don't enjoy drinking. It's not something that I enjoy as much anymore. I actually had a very, very bad drinking problem when I was in high school, of all places. Also, my family are a bit alcoholic, and I know that it is something that does run in my family, and I realized the cycle that I was continuing when I met my husband, and he'd never drank. He never, really did ever, except for at like celebrations and stuff. And then I started noticing that a lot of the time when I was hanging out with him when we were first married, I was like, hey, let's go get drinks, let's drink. And I realized that it was bleeding over into him. And the more I thought about it, the more that really started to affect me. And then he discovered that he had an allergy to it, so the drinking just kind of stopped, and I was okay with it. I just quit. I wanted to be the DD. I wanted to be the person who took care of other people. My sister actually passed away in a drinking and drug-related accident, and that really solidified for me that that wasn't something that I wanted to continue on with. I feel like for me, for a lot of people, it's normal and it's okay, and that's fine. But for me, it is not normal, it is not okay, and I just don't drink anymore. From the same person, we have, you are a broccoli lover, and that is 100% true. I feel like broccoli is probably my favorite of the vegetable category. Someone also said you like French fries. I do. I don't discriminate when it comes to my potato love though. I love pretty much all potatoes, but I would say French fries are my favorite like snacky food. They're also probably the worst for you, but I literally don't care. The next one is, you're a cat person and don't care for dogs. This is actually false. I am a dog person. Yes, I do have cats. I've had many cats in my life, but it is because my ex-husband was really into cats and I'm slightly allergic to them, and I didn't know if I wanted them in my life. I've always had them growing up, but growing up in Alaska, they sort of lived outside. They kind of came in as they wanted, and they were all really awful. Like, I had one cat named Pepper who lived for 20-some years, 20-some human years, and I loved her, but she wasn't the nicest cat. And so for me, I was definitely one of those people that had a tainted view of them, and now that I have mine, I absolutely love them. But I am more of a dog person. I love Shiba Inus, I love Huskies, I love Mastiffs, I love Kangals, I love big dogs, big smart dogs. And if I could have a dog, I would get one, but I live in an apartment, and I'm one of those people who thinks, especially because of where I grew up, I need to have more room for a dog to be able to run around, and I don't feel like in an apartment that makes any kind of sense. So right now, I am a cat person, but if I ever buy a house, I will be back to being a dog person. Not saying I'm gonna get rid of my cat because she would kill me, but I do prefer dogs over cats. Next one is, your type of gal is Xena, warrior princess. I wanted to be Xena so badly when I was younger. I adore her. I love strong, like physically and mentally and emotionally strong women. They are my favorite. So I definitely loved Xena growing up. She was the epitome of who I wanted to be, and the older I get, she's the epitome of the type of woman I would like to be with. Someone said lactose intolerant. I don't necessarily think that I'm lactose intolerant, but I don't think that we're really made to, I don't know, process dairy the way that everybody thinks we are. I think like a small amount of dairy is fine, and a small amount of dairy works for me. But the more dairy I have in a day, the more upset my stomach gets, the more heavy my stomach gets. So I wouldn't say I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm definitely one of those people who doesn't process it the best that I possibly could. Okay, so you check where you're at in a book by looking at where the bookmark is. This is true. I am always dog-earing books. I'm always marking in books. I'm always, putting in my bookmark. I don't know where I'm at in a book unless I absolutely open it. Like when I close my book, I don't look at it and go, okay, I'm on page 300 and then close it. I have no idea where I am until I pick up my bookmark again. Next one is, you secretly think bread crusts will make your hair curly. I wish that was true. My adopted mom, who is my aunt by blood, has this beautiful curly hair, and I love it, and I wish I would have gotten it, but unfortunately, I have incredibly straight hair and it drives me insane. It does this like flippy thing, so it's not like straight. I haven't washed it in about, I don't know, like 6 days. So it isn't as wavy as it normally is, but it does have a little bit of a wave to it, but I wish that I could find a way to make it curly without having to perm it. Next one is, you hope to not enjoy hyped books. I wouldn't say that. I definitely think that I'm prone to not enjoying hyped books, especially the older that I get and the longer I'm in this community. But I do hope that every single book that I read, I will enjoy, whether it is hyped or not. It's just unfortunate that I feel like for me, the hype kind of makes the books seem a little less enjoyable when you start to notice little problems that maybe people aren't talking about, like valid things. And that really bugs me. So I think that does detract from my overall enjoyment of the book. Haha, the next one is you're a really good dancer. Not a chance in hell. I am the worst dancer ever. I do not dance. I don't know how. It's always something like, I love dancing movies. Like dancing movies are my favorite. One of my favorite movies of all time is Save the Last Dance. And I used to try to reenact the dance that they did, and I'm just awful at it. It's just not something that I've ever been good at, unfortunately. And I wish I was. And I know I could take like classes or something, but at this point in my life, it's just I'm just gonna be one of those people that sits on the sideline and watches everybody else dance. Next one is you hate camping. That's false. I love camping. Camping is one of my favorite things to do. I've always really enjoyed nature, obviously from where I grew up. So when I moved to Ohio, my adopted parents and I used to go to the Renaissance Festival, and we used to camp every year, and I loved it. I love camping. I love everything about being outdoor in nature. And some of my best memories actually are from camping for Renaissance Festival, and it is when I was reading Harry Potter, and it's the one where we lost one of our very favorite characters, and I just remember bawling my eyes out in my tent and my mom being like, you haven't left your tent in like 2 days. You need to like come out and do stuff. And I was like, no, I'm camping and I'm reading my book. And those are like my favorite memories, is camping with my family. The next one is you have private socials because you keep your private life very private and close to your heart. Now, I only have one Twitter. I think I used to have another Twitter, but I've never used it. I mean, I've used it before, but I think I got locked out of it and didn't care. So when I created this Twitter, this is just the only Twitter that I ever use. Now, when it comes to Instagram, I do have 2 Instagrams. I have a personal Instagram and my book Instagram. And the reason for that is I try to limit book stuff on my normal everyday day-to-day life Instagram, because not everyone that I know reads, but a lot of my friends from my personal Instagram do actually follow me on my book Instagram, my bookstagram. But when it comes to just like lifestyle stuff and just like hanging out and just like updates on my life, I tend to keep that to my personal Instagram. Now, I do not have anything other than those. I don't use Facebook. I hate Facebook. I don't have like a LinkedIn. I don't do anything other than my book Twitter, and then my personal Instagram and my book Instagram. And my personal Instagram, I only ever update like once every 3 months. So it's not even that personal. I'm not a social media type of person. I deleted Facebook about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. The next one is you would rather spend your vacation hiking for hours than spending half an hour at the beach. I feel like I love nature and I love being out in nature, but the last time I went hiking, I had a huge panic attack, and the last couple of times I went hiking, I actually had a huge panic attack. So it's kind of skewed. I think I would like to spend a lot of time at the beach. I've lived in California and I lived in North Carolina, and I spent a lot of time at the beaches there, and I absolutely loved it. But if it was like spending a day at the beach or spending a night, camping, I'd prefer camping. So if it's like actually hiking or spending time at the beach, I'd rather be at the beach. Next one is you'd like to own your own restaurant or venue one day. I don't think I could do that. I mean, I feel like it'd be fun, but as much as I love cooking, I don't think that I'm good enough to actually own something like that or do something like that. Like maybe a food truck would be fun, but I don't know, like if I owned anything, it would be like a coffee shop / bookstore, but there's like 1,000 of those. So I don't think that it would do very well. So if I could own anything, that's what it would be, but I don't think I'd own like a restaurant or anything like that. I love working in restaurants. I just don't think I'd like to own one. Next one is you're very good at illustrations and have an old sketchbook of awesome drawings. I actually am a terrible drawer. When it comes to creating, I'm more of the I'm more about words than I am about visual stuff. I've created some paintings, I've created, some drawings here and there. I do doodle, but I wouldn't say that I'm at all very good at either of those things. Next one's you're a night owl. Currently, I am a night owl. I go to bed around 1:15 in the morning and get up around 10. I know that seems like a lot of time to be laying down, but I try to make sure that I at least get 7 hours. So once I lay down, I read or relax or whatever, turn off all my computers and stuff. But I am a night owl. Do I prefer the mornings and I would love to be able to go to bed around 9 and get up around like 7 or something, or like even 6 or 5. I love watching the sun rise. So I think that's why I became a night owl with my work schedule, is I would stay up late enough to see the sun actually come up, because that time is my favorite. But I would have to say that I prefer the witching hour. I prefer to be more creative and in the moment and, you know, working on things super, super late at night. That is my favorite time, I think, recently. Like, for my life right now, that's my favorite. For my life, how I would like it to be, I definitely prefer the morning. I assume that you like healthy food a lot. If I could pay to have somebody make me healthy food all the time, I would love it. Not just because it would be healthy, but because I genuinely like the way it makes me feel, the way it tastes, more to bad for me food. I feel like my anxiety is really linked to my gut health. So when I'm eating really badly, it does make me really anxious. So I do prefer and enjoy healthy food. Not that I'm particularly healthy. You don't like surprise parties. This is correct. I don't like being if I'm like a bystander to a surprise party, I think I'd really enjoy it. But if I'm like the main event for a side party, like it's a surprise party for me, I don't think that I would really enjoy that. I don't think that I like being the center of attention. It makes me incredibly anxious. You don't like gargoyles. That would be incorrect. I actually really like Gargoyles. Gargoyles is also a show that I watched a lot growing up, and I do have it on DVD. Yes, DVD, not Blu-ray. I'm that old. And I really like that show, and I really like gargoyles. I think they're really cool. I like gargoyles and goblins and ogres, I think, are like my favorite. Well, and orcs. I don't know, I just really like the kind of dumb looking ones. I think those are my favorite. You think peacocks are just all right. I actually think peacocks are really pretty, but when it comes to like birds, I have watched enough of like the Discovery Channel and like the shows they have on Netflix to know that there are so many other cool birds out there. Also heard peacocks are kind of assholes and they like to bite a lot. You love biscuits. Now, does this mean biscuits as in like cookies and crackers and that kind of thing? Or are we talking biscuits like the kind that you put gravy over? Either way, it's a bread product. I'm here for it. I love anything bread related. It could be like pasta, it can be like bread, it can be like croutons. I eat croutons all the time at work because I'm ridiculous. I love anything and everything bread. So biscuits are a plus for me. All right, guys, so those are all the assumptions that you guys sent to me on Twitter and through my Curious Cat. Like I said, let me know down below if there are any that I didn't answer here that you guys would like to know about. I love you so, so much. Thank you for participating in this, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.